Hi, meteorologist Lisa Green here with a look at what we are dealing with for Sunday afternoon and evening. The severe weather threat returns today. We've seen it already in some places this morning, and now the threat increases for the afternoon and evening, and we are watching out for tornadoes today. So let's take a look right away at our latest alert that we have. It's a tornado watch that's been issued. Maybe you've seen that alert come across your phone over the last few minutes here. And that watch includes places in southeastern North Dakota, all the way up through Grand Forks, and then back into almost all of our counties into Minnesota for this afternoon and into this evening. And so that includes Fargo. It includes the city of Grand Forks. It includes some of the same places that got hit hard by tornadoes and severe winds on Friday night. Places like Bemidji still reeling from the windstorm there, and the Enderlin area, of course, where we saw the tornado move through, and more places all the way up toward Lake of the Woods. So we are concerned about storms firing right now and into the next couple of hours that could produce some supercell thunderstorms and all modes of severe weather possible. There's some strong heating ahead of a front that's moving through. Let's take a look at that. Also, a heat advisory remains in effect until 7. We'll talk about that in a little bit. But again, we've got this surface low near southeastern North Dakota, essentially, and the stationary boundary associated with it. And it's along that boundary, that transition zone, that we're watching out for some large hail. We're looking out for damaging wind gusts and an isolated tornado. Again, that strong heating ahead of that low and the front, it's going to help to support storm development, scattered storms and supercell storms and clusters developing over time this afternoon and evening. And then those storms will evolve into more of a line or a cluster again and move eastward into this evening and overnight, with that damaging wind gust threat increasing and the tornado threat, the supercell type tornado threat, decreasing with this event at that point in time. So let's take a look at some of our setup here. So where you see all that color on the map here, that is what we call atmospheric energy. It's also technically called CAPE. It's a parameter that we watch for to see if there's energy to help fuel some of those thunderstorms. And you can see it right there. We're looking at the Fargo area kind of right in the mix for some of the toughest conditions as far as that energy is concerned right now and where the storms could fire. In addition to that, we're also looking at that stretching up toward places like Ada and then back down into northern parts of Richland County, where the core of it is. But you can see a lot of places here are in red. So again, just want to point that out. It's this area here. It kind of lines up well with the watch that we have in effect. Southeastern North Dakota back up through Minnesota, but even up into northwest Minnesota, we're also watching out for that risk for tornadoes here. So again, you can see there are some storms developing. We'll pull this back up full. Over by the Devil's Lake area, that's an area we're watching, but the energy not as great there. And then up along the international border at the moment as well. So let's zoom ahead. You can see lots of lightning associated with the storms in the Devil's Lake Basin. No current severe warnings in our viewing area. We're either seeing storms to the west or storms north of the border. Let's zoom in a little bit more on this line. Again, back over toward Rock Lake and the Can-Do area getting hit pretty hard right now. We're going to zoom or pull back out here so I can point to these for you. Looking at, again, the Rock Lake area and the Can-Do area getting some lightning and thunder right now, some heavier rain as well. Just seeing Eric Whitehill walk into the building. He's going to be out chasing coming up here in this afternoon and evening as well. And then this stretches down into the west of Devil's Lake area over toward Leeds. I'm going to move a little bit farther south. You can see those storms stretching back over to Harvey too. Now these, again, not severe, but we're going to keep an eye on them. We're going to watch for development elsewhere too. Let me zoom back over to the northeast. We did have storms, but they've crossed the border there, so we're looking a little bit better there. I am watching right in the heart of the valley here. You can see some cells starting to pop up, starting to develop, and that is an area of focus again with that energy we just looked at for the potential for more development here pretty soon. And as we take a look at not seeing any hail, let me move back over to this area here. We are seeing a little bit of hail showing up into the western parts of Cavalier County, and I'm going to just query that little storm, and it looks like Right now, hail size estimate under 1 inch in diameter at the moment, but you could be seeing some small hail with that one too. So that's what we're looking at here on the radar. Well, looks like our sky cam's not showing up here for the moment, but it has been getting a little cloudier on our sky cam here in Fargo. So we're going to zip ahead to severe weather threat and impacts. I'm going to take a full screen view here and take a look at slight risk for severe weather. And hold on a second. Eric, do you want to just come over in and tell me what your plan is? We'll pull up our full screen view here, and we'll get your mic turned up.
Absolutely.
And here we are. Here's Eric.
Yeah. Hi, everyone. I don't even have my glasses on, and my hair isn't done, so I kind of look a little disheveled.
Yeah.
But the area that I'm looking at, Lisa, really is going to focus in on the far southeastern North Dakota into just across the border, the first counties basically into the Minnesota side of the Red River. That's where I'm going to be focusing in on. Most likely what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave the station here in just a few minutes.
Yeah, that's why I want to get you on so we can get you going and get you out there. Right?
And then I'm going to head north. Most likely I'm going to head north up towards probably closer to that Hillsboro area, and then just across the Red River. Looks like as you noticed, we're already starting to see some storms start to develop there. We're also noticing an area of low pressure. That low is centered fairly close to right around like the Lisbon area in northern Ransom County.
I'll see if I can zip back to that for you on the graphics here, because we just went over that before you walked up. Let's see here. She's taking a minute. Keep going.
Yep.
We'll move back.
And so that area of low pressure, close to what we would call the nose, that's the area where we're going to see some of the greater chances for a little bit of spin in the atmosphere. Yeah, right. If we can.
Actually, if you want to point to the screen on the other side.
The other side, perfect.
Yeah, because that's what's showing up best on the camera. Actually, if you. Okay, go ahead.
So we're looking at the area just to the southwest of Fargo, northern Ransom County, and this low is expected to move off to the north and east, and where we've got this attending warm front, and then we've got the cold front and another boundary that's laying just to the west of Grand Forks. We're going to see this kind of become the focal point area for some thunderstorm development. And if we're going to see anything strong, severe, the bigger chances for tornadic storms, at least right now, I'm thinking is going to be in that part of the region. Doesn't mean that if I'm in Otter Tail County, if I'm in Wilkin County, it doesn't mean I let my guard down.
Sure.
Because that area is still included in that tornado watch, and there's some, it is kind of what we would call a higher end probability tornado watch. So if we're in the watch area, we're starting to get things ready, get out of basement, storm shelter, making sure that's cleaned out just in case. Yeah,
we're going to walk through that here in just a little bit coming up. But so yeah, we'll be keeping in touch with you throughout the event, and hopefully you don't see anything. That's the ideal thing, right?
Yep.
We don't want to see that, but in case there is, you're going to be out there looking for it, and of course letting us know and letting you, our viewers, know what's going on into the evening hours for tonight.
Absolutely. So I'm going to take off, Lisa.
Okay.
And I'll talk to you in my ear.
Be in touch. We'll check in with each other coming up here in a little bit. Thanks, Eric. Okay, so you heard it here. Eric's going to be out working on making sure we're keeping a good eye on the storm. We're going to switch to this other camera now and see if we've got anything developing out there. And again, we were watching and we are watching. Doesn't look like much right now, but a couple of areas, a couple of cells just starting to pop here in the Central Valley and down to the south too. Oftentimes we'll look at the satellite first because you see the clouds develop first, and then the rain starts to develop after that, and that's what we detect on radar is rain, not clouds. Clouds are satellite. So again, that's where we're looking for the development. You can see a lot of action going on to the north and west, but that's not likely the area of where we may see tornadoes with this event. So again, let's pull up that radar again. You can see that we're looking out for storms that are going to be, right now at least, in that northwestern part of our viewing area, and then I'm also keeping an eye on this area here. You see these little cells starting to pop up. I'm going to zoom in a little bit more here, and let's move this over just a little bit. We'll bring it back to the camera shot, and so we're looking at, oh gosh, Neilsville. We know we got some damage there the other night, and early morning hours especially. There's a little cell out to the west there. Here's the Red River right here. Here's I-29, in case it's zoomed in a little too much for you. Buxton, Hillsboro area, and then a Highway 200 corridor, and then back over toward Beltrami into Polk County along Highway 9, and Crookston also seeing a couple of cells pop. So these are the areas we're watching pretty closely right now for continued development. And then this does stretch down southeast of Hillsborough, we're seeing a little cell there. And even in Fargo-Moorhead, some light green starting to show here as we're looking at the map. So again, this is just beginning to develop, and we're going to continue to follow this for you and keep you up to date right here and on valleynewslive.com, and of course over the air on TV as well. As those warnings come in, we'll of course be breaking in and letting you know. And a quick look again at hail, only watching some small hail potential up in those storms that are up toward that northwestern part of our viewing area, specifically this cell here that is west of Wales, east of Calvin. This may be producing just under 1 inch diameter hail in that particular cell as this moves to the northeast. So let's zoom ahead. Let's move ahead again. Now that Eric is heading out the door, let's talk about a timeline here on this and the threat. So we'll bring up our full screen graphic again here. This is from the Storm Prediction Center. You can see the greatest risk, more southeastern North Dakota and back up into northwest Minnesota, though everybody's under threat. And we're looking out for, especially early on, that concern about a few tornadoes developing. Hail could be very large again, 2.5 inch diameter hail possible again with this one. As the event evolves, may turn into more 70-mile-per-hour wind gusts into the nighttime hours for tonight. And of course, localized flooding with any heavy rains that come down. Here's the tornado threat. Not as high as it was Friday night. We're talking, if you remember, we had the yellow area, the hatched area showing up. Now it's still possible, but more isolated tornadoes, again, right in some of the same areas under the tornado watch, either low to isolated chances, so a few tornadoes possible. And the threat is going to be likely great earlier in the event as these supercells form before they evolve into that line. So the next few hours, we'll be watching for that. And then here's a look at that hour-by-hour timeline. We're starting this off at 4 o'clock in just a couple of minutes here, starting to see some development, and this is lining up kind of right in the same areas where we were just pointing out on the radar, where we're starting to see some cells just starting to pop up. And that's again stretching down to Fargo-Moorhead, back up toward right around Neilsville area and the Crookston and Thief River Falls area. So this model has some good initialization, a good take on what's happening as we speak. And in the next 10-15 minutes, we could see those storms pop a little bit more. Let's move ahead an hour. These storms are going to continue to evolve. You can see northwest Minnesota really in the mix here according to this particular model. Again, anywhere in the watch, we need to stay weather aware because this is a simulation. This isn't necessarily exactly what's going to happen, though it is nice to see that it's lining up nicely where the development is. That helps us to kind of trust this particular model run right now. And then moving on into the evening, that threat continues to evolve, heading off to the north and east, though again, you could see by 9 p.m. there may be some more storms developing back into southeastern North Dakota, and then continuing on into the 10 o'clock hour. Eventually, once we get into the late night hours, and I should say that tornado watch in effect until 10 p.m., so that kind of gives you an idea of the window here that we're looking at. After that, this is 1 a.m. You can see we're quieting down somewhat. There is a possibility we could see some more storms move into the south overnight, and that's something I'll be looking for overnight and into tomorrow morning. So again, Eric was just starting to talk about tornado safety and what to do, and here are some reminders. Again, lowest level of your home, your basement is your best option. Underground is your best option, or a designated tornado shelter. If you do not have a basement, the lowest level of your home is the best place to be. You want to head into an interior room, a small room like a bathroom, a closet, an interior hallway, perhaps under some stairs. Get under those areas. Make sure you're protecting yourself, especially your head. It may seem silly, but we recommend if you have a helmet, bike helmet, a hockey helmet, a motorcycle helmet. If your kids have bike and sports helmets, put those on because you want to protect your head in events like these. A lot of the greatest injuries happen when we take blows to the head, unfortunately. So make sure you're doing that. Make sure you're covering yourself up with a blanket if you can here, again, if we are under that tornado warning. And again, that basement is your best option. So just want to stress that again. And some other things to note, if you find yourself, if you're out and about, and you're unable to make it home, say you're out at the store, if you live in an apartment, which doesn't often have a basement, it's a large building, you want to head to the lowest first floor and get into the hallway. If you're in a big box store, head to the nearest bathroom. Of course, those places will know where their designated tornado shelters are, so hopefully they send you to those spots again. And then a reminder, mobile home, RV, campers, no go. Those are not places to be. If you are in one, if you know somebody who's camping this weekend, make sure you alert them, and or if you are out, make sure that you're finding ways to take shelter. Hopefully you've already spotted or contacted the person who runs the RV campgrounds, and you know where that designated tornado shelter is, and you'll want to seek that in the event of these storms. They just are not going to protect you from a tornado if one is moving through. Severe storm safety also involves staying informed and making sure you have a plan to get informed. So your wireless emergency alerts on your phone, make sure they're turned on. The VNL weather app, you can set that to follow you wherever you go, the alerts, and so you can get that alert where you happen to be. NOAA weather radio, again, a great tool. We'll be here for you on air throughout the evening and overnight if these storms last during that time. VNL weather app, again, helps you, and the valleynewslive.com app. And again, don't rely on those outdoor sirens. They're great supplemental warnings, but not every community has one. We can't guarantee they're going to work. And in addition to that, every community, every county has different reasons for sounding that alarm. So it's good to know when they will or when they won't here anytime there's severe weather. So again, we want to have multiple ways to be alerted during these events. And one other thing I want to mention here is, we've talked about it being a very hot day. This is our heat index right now. This is helping to provide the energy for these storms, but this is also going to be very tough on people who are vulnerable, those who are maybe a little dehydrated or out in the sun and not taking breaks from the heat. We're looking at heat index values of 102 and 100 in Wahpeton and in Fergus Falls, 101 in Sisseton, 100 in Elbow Lake. So really intense in the southeast, right where we have that heat advisory in effect until 7 p.m. Fargo 98, and you can see where that boundary is. The heat index in Grand Forks 76, and then Rolla 59. So a huge difference from north to south, almost a 100-degree difference here, 93-degree difference it looks like on this map. So again, we are looking at, excuse me. There we go. I was making sure my graphics were working. We're looking at a hot day, a hot afternoon continuing here for the next few hours. Again, hydration with water and hydrating fluids, not coffee, not beer. Those kind of things tend to dehydrate you. Want to make sure you're finding ways to stay cool and wear loose clothing. And of course, this time of year especially, but every single day we want to check our back seat for kids and pets. Don't want to leave anybody behind, especially now when it can get so hot in your car very, very quickly. So looking at the forecast ahead really quickly here, we get some relief from this heat. We'll see a little bit of a break to start the week, and then we're watching out for more chances for showers and thunder showers. A reminder, we talked about this on Friday. This is the most active time of year from a climate standpoint for us in the valley. We're talking, we see most of our tornadoes during the month of June and July. We're at peak severe weather season, and of course we've got our tornado watch that is in effect for today. So, and that is again in effect until 10 p.m. for those areas. I'll bring this back up full screen so you can look at it. Areas southeastern North Dakota, back up through Grand Forks County, and then east into almost all of our counties in Minnesota until 10 p.m. And again, I'm already starting to see some storms fire. So I'm going to get back to my weather graphics and get back to some more weather analysis, make sure we're on top of this, and we'll be here for you, keeping you up to date throughout the rest of the afternoon and the evening. You can tune into valleynewslive.com or Valley News Live, all of our stations. We'll be keeping you up to date there. And if you get any reports, again, we only want you to go out and get them if it's safe to do so. We do appreciate hearing them though, if it is safe. That way we know where damage is occurring, how bad it may be for the folks down the line, and then we can also pass that along to the National Weather Service, and they can warn accordingly for these storms too. So again, we really appreciate your reports that are done safely. We want you to be safe first. So again, remember those safety rules. Stay away, in general, severe thunderstorms, we want to stay away from windows. We want to be more into the interior part of the home. And for some of us on Friday, we saw wind gusts 100 miles per hour or more. This one could see some strong wind gusts tonight, 70 plus. treat those kind of winds like tornadic winds, and maybe get to that bottom part of your home, the lowest level, or the basement too, once we see these storms moving through. So again, we'll continue to keep an eye on this for you and keep you up to date throughout the evening. In the meantime, enjoy the rest of your Sunday afternoon and evening. Keep your eye on the sky and stay safe as we're looking at another round of potential tornadoes tonight.